Good evening, everybody. I'm Doug Mitchell. I have the great privilege of serving as the executive director of the Glacier National Park Conservancy. And soon after I took this job in 2017, when I was told there was nothing to see here, something happened up in the park, and there was a fire and Sperry Chalet burned down. And that's where I got to meet this man, Bob Jellison, who was first among many in really being hands-on and helping provide support for that. And Bob is here with us tonight in his role as the park representative in the School to Park program. Bob, thanks for being with us.
You bet.
It's a real treat.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, that was a fun little project we did up on the hill there.
Yes, it was.
We hopefully won't have to do that one
No.
again.
No.
And we're also joined by the faculty member at Columbia Falls High School, Manolo. Victor Manolo, thank you for being with us tonight as well.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for supporting our program.
You bet. It's our pleasure. We've also got a bunch of students who are here, super energized. I think we've got like 8 of the 12 or 15 who are with us and a couple of alumni as well. And we're going to get a chance to talk to those students. That's really going to be a focus of tonight. But before we do, I'm going to chat with these two a little bit. And Bob has some photographs that we're going to go through.
This is our second cabin. It's over at Rising Sun Campground on the east side of the park. Can you go back to that one?
There's everybody, Jim Foster.
Yep, there's Jim Foster. He's with students, and we're at our very first cabin site putting in shooting elevations. Go ahead and go for it. This is Jeff Rimiker. He was our teacher for the first 4 years, and he was really good. He helped us establish a lot of the curriculum and our general workflow. We can just go through these.
It's kind of laggy.
Okay, no problem. May Anderson, she'll be with us this evening. She's on the left there. You can just keep rolling with this. Our photo Jim. This day really impressed me. We had all those kids on that same floor system working together, making good progress together. This is one when we first had the shop. You can see on there we still have gravel floor. We've had some upgrades since then, really make a lot better workspace for us. This is half of our first crew. We teach everything from plan reading. We try to refer the students or the student leaders back to the plans rather than just giving them the answer. Here's Manolo, our first year, Manolo's first year. We're framing up walls for along the exterior of our shop facility there. We have nice floors there, and the kids trimmed the walls, insulated the walls, and they sheeted them all on our to give us a little, so we could actually heat the shop for the first time. That was year 4.
Yep.
And there you can see in the background where the wall's been sheeted and insulated all by the students. The ceiling was insulated elsewhere. It's fairly typical early in the year. We quite often will have a couple of people doing some leadership and others seeing what's going on and keeping an eye on things as we're easing into things. This is Hunter on the right there. He's leading a crew in framing and standing up walls. He's one of our student leaders last year. Feel free to jump in on this one. And some of the stuff, actually, we just started this today. It's not the funnest part of our job, but you know, the insulation and things like that need to happen. And it's pretty impressive. You know, there's usually some resistance, but once we get going, people jump up and they did it. I was really proud of those guys today. They did a good job.
No, and we usually do like this. I'm giving just a simple demonstration on how to cut insulation.
Yeah.
Because, you know, this is the first time a lot of these students have ever touched these products.
You can keep rolling under.
And then we always have fun.
Yeah. Here is a storage shed we built on the left there. So we usually have 2 projects going at the same time. And that one was a historic district. So the corners on it really tightly mitered, really good work. Keep rolling on. Do all levels, electric, plumbing, everything. This was a little side project, a little by house a couple of the students were building. There's one of the entrance kiosks. I believe that's the two medicine one, yeah. Go back to that habitat one. So for several years, up one, sorry, Andrew. This is a service day we have, and I'd like to have it again this year, where we go in with Habitat for Humanity and we work on one of their job sites for today, and it's good for the kids to get out and see an actual on the job site rather than being in our shop facility, and it's also good for them to give some service. All right, let's go up on ahead.
That was
Last
group.
year's crew. Do medicine, just getting started in that picture, it looks like. Kids did all this work, interior finished on the roof. This is Otto Anderson. This is a cabin he was working on. They did some historic preservation work on this backcountry cabin. Otto was our first intern. Great Basin Institute helps supported him. This is one of our projects this year. Actually, the Conservancy is providing the funding for. You can see the beamwork in this. This is a Trails cabin up at Sperry Chalet. There's going to be a similar cabin to replace a damaged cabin up at Granite Park. And we're currently doing the timber framework on that.
I slept in that cabin.
It's a good place to be, as you can see in the picture. Yeah.
Well, and it's an awesome project. This is them doing that timber framework, and the kids are doing, full timber framing as an introduction. First time ever messing with slicks and chisels like this, and they're doing amazing work.
Well, and before we go on, this is perfect. This is a great one. That's fine. Bob and I know exactly how much these cost. They cost $141 a piece, or they did when we bought them for Sperry.
Yep.
Right. So this is also the trust you have in your students.
Yep.
That you can hand them probably a $200 piece of wood.
Yep.
And have the expectation that they're gonna do something right with it.
Yep, and they get some practice. We had a couple beams that we dedicated to practice.
Yeah.
Some of the kids loved it, thrived on it, and they're the ones that get to do some of that more technical joinery. Everyone's getting a chance to do it, but we definitely give them a chance to practice and use the saws. And you can see this saw here. It's like a Mickey Mouse saw or something. It's kind of comical how big that saw is. And that's Logan. You'll see him later. But they love running that stuff because you don't get to mess with anything like that on any other job site, any other time, except for if you're doing timber frame. And so it's a fun thing for the students.
Yeah, that's cool.
And Jan is with us tonight as well. The neat thing is, I thought, well, maybe we'll have 2 or 3 kids who can do this timber work because it's so focus oriented. And every student in the class, when we were doing the practice piece, did it to the standard we need. So what I thought was I was impressed. It was really cool. So we're about, I don't know what, a little over a third of the way through.
Yeah, something like that.
This is one of my favorite days. We were able to take students a couple years ago over to Rising Sun on Installation Day, and you can just burn through the rest of those, or we can wait for later if we want to get the kids on.
Yeah, so I think what we're gonna do, my coworker, the amazing Amy Lucky, is on, as are a number of the students, and so Amy, I'm gonna hand it off to you. And we're going to switch and have you introduce, or have the students that are online introduce themselves, have you talk to them for a bit. I'm going to kick these 2 out of here. And I'm going to have Selah and Logan join me here.
Okay, perfect. So just so the audience knows, I just put this in the chat, but we have, I think, 9 students tonight. So kudos to these high schoolers. It's been a couple years since I was in high school, but I know how busy they are. So I'm super appreciative that they're joining. I'm wondering if maybe Patrick could introduce himself. I know he's got a band concert to go to tonight, possibly. Patrick, do you want to tell us maybe what year you are and how many years you've been in the School of the Park program, and maybe what your favorite thing is?
Yeah, of course. Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, my name's Patrick. I'm at a band concert here tonight, so it might be loud, but I'm a senior this year. This is my 2nd year taking this class. And yeah, my favorite thing over the years is just constantly getting to learn a new thing every day, I'd say. Every day I'm gaining a little more experience and just having fun with my buddies.
So cool. I love it. Good luck in the band concert tonight. We'll come back to you if we get a chance and you're still around. But thank you for joining us. And then we have May and Otto. I know you guys are joining together. Can you guys tell us your story?
Yeah.
So my name is May Anderson. This is my little brother Otto. I am an alumni. I did the School to Park program for 2 years during high school, my junior and senior year. I just graduated college. Did it a little bit early, but I just graduated. So it's been a few years. You can go.
I'm Otto. I did the School to Park program my junior year. I did not do it my senior year. I'm a senior now, but and then I ended up working through that program for Glacier Park through Great Basin Institute. But yeah, so it was a pretty awesome experience all summer, and yeah, I got to go in the backcountry and hang out. It was awesome. But yeah.
And I hear maybe you had a successful hunt today.
I did. That wasn't why I was late. I'm not a very techie guy. I was like sitting at my house freaking out about
You had to drive up to my
how to
house.
get on the Zoom meeting. But yeah.
We
So
don't,
sorry.
you were here. You were here. We just heard that you were out hunting, so we wanted to hear that story too.
I was, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. I think that's all that we have online. Are there any other students online that would introduce themselves? Would unmute and introduce themselves? I think I got everybody. So Doug, I think I'm going to throw it back your way to have the two students that you're hanging with introduce themselves as well.
Yeah, that's great. And so please.
Hi, I'm Sayla Heinzen. I took the class my sophomore and junior year, and then just didn't have room in my schedule this year.
I'm Logan Oswald. I'm a senior this year, and I'm doing this program for the first year. So, yeah.
So tell me, both of you, about your favorite day on
That's
the project.
I don't. I gotta think about that one. You go first.
I think I'd say the first day. It was awesome getting to meet Mr. Victor and Bob. It was awesome getting to see everybody in this program and getting to see the basis of this program, getting to understand what we're going to be doing, and kind of learning what it is that we do in this program. And it's an awesome program. I love it. It's been fun every day. I look forward to it.
Do you think, I'm not handy, so I'm a little envious, I'll have to say. And I did, by the way, grow up in a house built by the high school shop class in my local hometown. There were some hallways that didn't go anywhere. But I'm a little envious. Do you think that this is going to give you skills that you're going to be able to continue? Do you intend to do this professionally, or just will it give you skills that you think will be helpful for your lifetime?
I think it's an awesome program that teaches you lots of really valuable life skills. For example, I've been doing electrical this last week, and it's been, I've been learning stuff every day, and it's taught me some really valuable stuff that I wouldn't learn anywhere else. So, and it's great having the teachers who have had years and years in this field of work who can be right there and tell you, oh, hey, just try and change this up, or if you're going to do that, try doing this. It just it helps a lot to have that experience right there with you. So yeah, I think it's really great for life skills, but also if you're looking for something to do after high school, it can definitely open up some doors.
Right, especially
yeah,
in a community like ours that's growing,
absolutely.
that has a need for additional housing, workforce housing, things like that. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so now you've had a chance to think, Sarah.
Okay. I think my favorite day was when in my sophomore year we were putting the roofing on the cabin, and it was me and Carly, I believe, doing one side, and then Wyatt Sostrom was doing the other side, and he was just cranking it out. But me and Carly were like slipping and sliding, so we got the caulking on our shoes, and we figured it out. But that's kind of like shows like one of the fun moments. And even though like Wyatt was cranking it out, because that was his second year, he like helped us because I was just kind of learning, and she, we're all like we all come into it new.
Right.
And so like it shows that like the people in the class, they don't really think of themselves higher, even if they've taken it for more years. It's just helpful.
Right. And Bob talked about that a little bit, about the teamwork aspect of that. And I know teamwork is important to you. I mean, do you get that a lot from this class? And how do you think that has helped you grow in your high school years?
It's a really big, important thing about this class, because if we didn't work as a team, it wouldn't work. Because it's just like on a job site. and I've worked on a couple of job sites, but this is, I would say, the most like actually, I don't know how to say it, like well-rounded within teamwork, because there's people that need more help and then people that do know more. But the way that everyone learns to actually work together and show each other ways of doing things without making it sounding rude or
Right,
hurting their
right,
feelings or
right.
anything.
So one more question. If you were, someone came to you, incoming freshman, and said, I'm thinking about this class, what would be your advice?
Why not? I mean, you're gonna miss out on a lot of really great opportunities by not taking this class. I think it's really unique. There's only 2 programs from what I hear that are anything like it, and ours is one of those programs. So I think it's a really great and unique opportunity that you're not really gonna get anywhere else. So I think you're making a big mistake if you don't take this program. You could be someone, even if you're really not interested in the trades, you're not seeing it as a career or anything like that, it's still valuable skills that you're not gonna really get anywhere else unless you really seek them out. So
Agree, and what do you add?
Oh, 100%. Especially with the teachers that we have, if this was at Columbia Falls, I would say you need to take it. It shouldn't be an option. Even if you like don't come a family that like your dad's taught you how to build, like some people, or like you know nothing about it, the amount of life skills that you do learn and you get more logical with your thinking because you're actually put in a real world situation that most classes in high school don't offer. And so like you just grow so much, even if you're not going to do it after high school, with the teachers that are teaching it, you get close to them, you get close to everybody else. Probably like it's in a way kind of like a family, just because of you all are going through the same thing. And especially like my first year, it was like in the shop, it was 10 degrees colder than it was outside. That was when we still had dirt floors. And so it was pretty cold, but we all knew like we still had fun because we were all going through it and would huddle by the heater and just you learn how to work in those situations.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mhm.
So fun. Well, thank you. And Amy, if you want to, I'm going to come back to Otto, and I'm going to come back to the onliners, and we're going to switch up our seats here. So if you want to bring up, Andrew, the online tiles, and I'm going to, if May and Otto are still with us, yep, good. And then I'm going to ask Jana and Brock to come up here. Thanks, you guys.
Yeah.
And while they're doing that, I mean, for I know most of the people who are online with us in our Glacier conversation are dear supporters. I know that all of you are as gobsmacked as I am by these young people. This is really incredible, and to be able to be a small part of this is really unbelievable. So I want to come back to you guys. So May, you were kind of the project lead at one point, and you've seen this work and your little brother come into it. What are the big changes that you've seen since you were doing this back in the olden days?
The olden days. My brother and I were just talking about this earlier. The first year or both years that I was part of the program, the shop was still working on their program a little bit. We still had like the gravel in our big shop and it wasn't insulated or anything. And so he just said, he's like, yeah, we have it pretty bougie, which made me laugh, made me chuckle. But it's fun to see the program, especially with Otto being my little brother. It's fun to see the internship that came out of it. I mean, Otto, you had a blast last summer. I would hear about it.
Super fun.
And while I was in the program, those things were still developing, and it's nice to just see that it's still like going strong and like those opportunities are growing as the program reaches more people. And I think it's just really like it just makes me happy that it's still going, because without that program, I mean, it is what I looked forward to every day of high school. I didn't really enjoy high school, but I enjoyed going to that class. And I was also laughing. 2 other alumni are outside right now. I just kicked them out because I was like, they're busy doing stuff. And it's funny because Sayla did say like you make family, and it's true. Like I still keep in touch with a lot of my classmates that I worked with in those years. So it's it's fun to see it transform into like lifelong friendships and just to see the program still thriving.
And so, Otto, do you feel like you got something you have to keep up the family tradition?
I mean, kinda. I mean, May's stories about it, I was like, oh yeah, maybe I should take this class. But really, I was just kind of interested in it myself. And then the internship and everything kind of just came after the fact. But yeah, I mean, it was a super enjoyable class. I felt like Patrick was saying, I learned something every day. And even if, you're not going to pursue it, it's such a good skill set to have just if you want to, build a house or build like a small shop or do whatever in like your future. But yeah, it was a super fun
Yeah.
class.
So a couple more questions. May, to you, you talked about, going to college. Tell us if at all and how this experience in this class may have helped kind of inform your college experience and then and what are you going to do next?
So going out of high school, I think all kids kind of have like the, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And I think that moving out of the class, I kind of took an interest on the business side of things. Um, I kind of became fascinated with like, oh my gosh, like budgeting and like the cost of different things. And I ended up getting my degree. I got a bachelor's degree in business administration, and then I minored in small business management. And so it's been fun, like exploring those avenues of business and how they relate to construction, because construction is actually something I'm like pretty passionate about still. My boyfriend and I built the house we're sitting in now, which was like all skills I learned from just the program. I have no background in construction. So here's a real life example. Sorry, but moving forward, I actually am looking into some different positions with the National Park Service. I was just looking earlier. Flat electric also piqued my interest. I don't know, I think that construction management, I guess, is kind of like the avenue I'd like to pursue. I like being able to see projects come to fruition.
That's really cool. And it's it's important work out there. I mean, you mentioned Flathead Electric Co-op, right? The infrastructure that we need to grow a valley like ours, right, is not nothing. And similar to what you've been doing in the park, where in order for park rangers to be able to patrol the park, they need a place to lay their head, and we need workforce housing for that. So that sounds very exciting. We have a board member of Flathead Electric Co-op who's probably watching this and will, if not. So, and I know you've got lots of ins at the Park Service. So keep us posted on your progress. And Otto, I wanted to ask, I think about, I'm old, really old. And so I think about old things. And I wonder if you ever think about kind of the legacy that you're building, right? That 20 years from now, you may be able to take your kids into the park and see the cabin, the ranger cabin that you built. Do you think about that at all?
Oh yeah, I mean, that was a big part of it for me. I remember just like signing my name on the roof at one point and then covering it up and like maybe some day somebody's gonna unearth this and be like, whoa, who's this and whatever. But yeah, it was pretty cool just being a part of that. And then also working for the park, working on like some of the cabins, like Lower Nyack cabin, that was really cool. Just because that's been around since like the 20s or whenever it was built. And just restoring it was like I was like, man, this is cool. And the whole program that had been built basically from the ground up over time. But yeah, so that was pretty
Yeah.
cool.
That's amazing. And Amy, I'm going to keep going here, but also, folks, as usual, please put questions in the chat for Amy. And then after I talk to these two for a bit, we'll come to you and then we'll ask some questions. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. We're in a little small room, so we're doing a lot of rotating. It's like a very small volleyball game in here. So thanks for being patient with us. So Jenna, why don't you start and introduce yourself?
My name is Jenna Grelkin, and I'm a senior in Columbia Falls High School, and I decided to take this house construction class.
It's awesome.
I'm Brock Swope. I'm a senior, and this is my second year taking the class.
That's cool. So Jenna, I want to ask you about, what do you think the most challenging day or skill that you've learned or had in the park program?
The most challenging skill that I've learned so far this year would probably be cutting a tenon for the timber frame. Cause a couple days later, after I did my practice cut, Bob assigned me to do a tenon for the timber frame, and I was nervous, but he gave me like enough confidence to like push me through and get me through it. And after like I did my first one, I did the other side, and at first when I did my first one, I didn't want to do it anymore, but it got me more interested, and I'm happy that I was able to like cut a tenon because now I know how to do that. And it's just really fun and
You know, it's, and we can say this now because he's not in the room anymore, but Bob is really a great mentor. What a nice human being. It just must be really terrific to be able to be with people who are really good at what they do, but really care about you. Does that come through in the class for you?
like he trusted me enough to cut a tenon, and that would go for the timber frame.
Right. How cool is that?
I didn't believe it.
Yeah, no, that's really very special. So, what do you think? Do you think that may be your most fulfilling day?
Well, there has been multiple days that I felt fulfilled. It would be because I would learn something new, like mostly every day, and like when I would complete my task, like it would just make me happy that I was able to do that, and I was taught like from the
Yeah.
teacher.
Yeah, that's cool. And you're the student lead, Brock, this year?
Yeah.
Current student lead in your second year. How does being the student lead for you different than last year when you were just one of the larger group?
Yeah, it just takes on, I think for me, more of like an understanding role, in, understanding the plans and understanding the bigger picture of like, you may be able to fix a small problem with this, but then it's gonna, stack until it becomes a bigger problem later. So you gotta really think through, everything that, each decision is, and, there's gonna be mistakes made and just how to get through that, and
Is that, and I think it's one thing when you're in a work environment, you're in that singular work environment, and that's one thing all day. But in school, that class ends and then you go to different classes and you're in the hallway. Does being the lead in that particular class, does that kind of change the way school works for you? Does it carry on as a leadership role?
not really for me. I think that more of just being in that leadership role is I may have just more experience in the actual like programming with the actual layout than some of the kids, and then just maybe I've learned ideas from the past years that they just have it, and I can just kind of help them with that. But I mean, I don't really feel that I'm much of a leader in that class. I just try to be helpful and supply extra knowledge that I have.
Right. No, that's true, but it's a great opportunity though to be able to, because how many people are in your team?
Yeah, it depends on what project we're doing. But it varies from five, six.
I think that good leaders often don't think of themselves as good leaders, because I think that it's a skill that you acquire, and I can just tell from being in the room with you here for the last half an hour that you have those kind of attributes, and I know that that really is important when you're dealing with people who are in your same colleague group, right? You spend a lot of time together, and so that's an important thing. So thank you for doing that. What do you think's next for you?
I'm thinking I'm gonna head off to college and planning in pursuing a civil engineering degree, and that's just something that I think this class has helped a lot with,
Yeah.
and understanding planning and layouts of houses. This one in particular, but also like the timber frame house is something that isn't commonly seen, and then the entry stations had it was a unique roof, and it was just interesting to learn all the different details of the plans and like why different things had to be here to support that, or why they needed this. So
And Bob talked a little bit, and then I saw a picture earlier in another meeting we had about the specifics of the joinery. So these guys seem to be pretty tough teachers too, right? They really demand a lot of you. Is that fair?
I mean, yes, but it is very much about we need to come in and we need to get something done each day, but they don't do it by any means of harshness or being mean or anything.
No,
They're really enjoyable people, and we have a good time in there, and we get stuff done.
yeah, that's really cool. And Janice, so again, speaking to a guy like me who has no skills whatsoever, my wife likes to say that I'm good at other things. Certainly not being handy. What would you tell someone who was looking at this class and just felt like they didn't have the skills to do it?
I would tell them that like it would be possible, if they were wanting to do that class, or
Yeah,
I would tell them that's possible if you have the right people that would guide you, and if you put the effort in and have like a growth mindset, and to not be to not like to not be discouraged, like that you won't really make it. You might not achieve it the first time, but what I like to keep in mind is to like, if you make a mistake the first time, you learn from it, and that's
and you're in a group of people who are supportive and want you all have this, again, this large goal where you're helping Glacier National Park. I mean, our mission at the Conservancy is to preserve and protect Glacier National Park for future generations. We do that by raising money so that you guys are really the ones who are preserving and protecting the park for future generations. And that should feel really good to you. So, Amy, I'm going to go to maybe some questions from the group.
Okay, perfect.
And I'm going to have Dylan and Manolo join me up here.
Sounds good. So I'm just scrolling through the questions, and first I wanted to read a comment that was made by Eric and Tanya. To all the youth, you are all amazing, and thank you so much for being here and talking about your experiences. Thank you so much for sharing your points of view. You are super inspiring. So I think we can all feel that one for sure. Just kind of a logistical question for maybe whoever, because I'm betting that the students know this, but what sort of like course credit or honors credit is involved in this class? I think that there's sort of credit from Flathead Valley Community College, and how does that all work?
I can't remember what her name is, but someone from the community college comes in and you sign up for dual credit, and I think it's like less than half of the price that you would have done at the
Yeah,
at
so
the
so through
college.
the valley, through the community college, they give each of the students through a running start program. Every student in the valley who's in good standings gets basically 6 free credits to go to school at the community college. A lot of the students can use that credit, but we do offer a dual credit in house construction that is a co-taught college course that that the students take. Not very many of them get that credit if they're going on to architecture or civil engineering or something like that where it's helpful. They will. A lot of the students, they end up using their credits for a different one, but they do get apprenticeship hours through the state, and that's a big one that every student will get. So if they go into any of the apprenticeship programs that Montana offers, they will go in there having those hours for that to start them into whatever career that they're going into the apprenticeship. So an electrician, lineman, contractor, construction, plumbing, any of those fields, they have a step up.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's amazing.
And then just kind of continuing with a few sort of logistical questions to kind of understand the program. And this one is we've kind of talked about, but with the long winters, you guys are doing this all winter long. It is very much an school year program. It's not a summer program.
Yeah, we go the entire school year. We start day one with introduction, some safety stuff, and then we roll into work. Within the first 2 weeks, we're starting to do the flooring system on the cabins, and then the goal is to have that as close to completion as we can at the end of the school year. It varies depending on the group and what our secondary project is. If we're 100% done, or Bob gets to spend the rest of his summer finishing it up if we don't get every single detail done. But that's where he's at, because ultimately we're here to teach the students, and we're also here to create a good project. And with that, mistakes have to happen. Things have to, we have to redo things every now and again so that they can learn. But we do. The goal is to have that project or both projects completed at the end of the school year. I guess that answered the question.
Okay, great. And here's one for Dylan. And maybe we'll ask May and Otto as well. What's your favorite and least favorite part about the building process?
I really like everything building it. I think my favorite part was setting up the walls and all of that. That was really fun. My least favorite would probably be painting the repainting the siding. That was annoying 'cause they're not, it's not wood siding, it's like a concrete product. So if you shoot a nail through it and it breaks like a corner off that's going to be hidden anyways, you still have to repaint it. That's kind of annoying, but everything else is really just super fun.
Cool. May and Otto, how about you? Favorite and least favorite?
You can go first.
I would say my favorite is probably the framing is generally what I like to do or enjoyed the most. And then also shingling. I did a little shingling on like a check-in station, I guess, for the park last year, which that was pretty fun. But I would have to agree with Dylan. The siding, not my favorite. But yeah, pretty much everything besides that was very enjoyable actually and rewarding. The siding was rewarding too, but it was just it would just it
Yes.
takes a decent amount of time and is repetitive kind of. But yeah.
For me, I really enjoyed the finish work. I got to do like flooring and some tongue and groove on the ceiling, and that was like really rewarding to see the final touches kind of fall into place. Um, I remember putting up siding and just making sure everything's level. I felt like I was always off by like a quarter of an inch, eighth of an inch. I was always going readjusting. So I'd probably have to agree with those guys.
Good to know. The sighting is tough. And I don't know if we still, I see Patrick is still on, but his photo or his video isn't on. And I'm betting that maybe he's at the band concert, but I just wanted to give him a shot in case he's listening. Okay, we're gonna let Patrick do the band for now. Let's see, and I guess
Sayla can answer this question. Here, come over and sit in my seat.
I don't know.
You take over.
Was it least
Oh, yeah. Least and most favorite.
Oh,
Sayla's running the show now.
Yes.
I think my like most favorite part would have to be either framing and electrical for sure. I really enjoyed that. It's more like technical work with the electrical, and honestly my least favorite, I admit I kind of enjoyed sighting. I didn't mind it, but I think the hardest part was like last year when I had to be a lead, and for a while I was on crutches and it was already hard for me to teach kids how to do stuff without just doing it myself. So I'd get like frustrated because I couldn't physically go over there and show them like hands on. And so just getting like frustrated was my least favorite part.
Great answer. So Sayla, stay where you are. And this is actually a comment, but I'm sort of interested to see your reaction and Mayor's reaction and Jana's reaction since you're the ladies in the room. But Eric and Tanya also commented that we love seeing so many young women involved. So I'm just kind of wondering the ratio. Is it mostly male in the classroom? Has there been more females lately? And is it kind of exciting to be in sort of this male-dominated field and be successful?
If anybody, I didn't want to interrupt just in case.
No, you go
There's
ahead.
always- So I was in the program for 2 years. In the first year, I was the only female, and I was also taking the welding program that our school offers. And so that I was also the only female in that. And the second year, there was one other girl, and it was amazing. I love her so much. I still keep in touch with her. But it's definitely, I think there's a lot of thoughts about it, but honestly, all of the guys I worked with were so nice and they didn't treat me any different than all those guys. I think it's fun to see like talking to Otto, the class, like the girls are growing, which is like so inspiring to see because I think that women have I think that they have a good attention to detail that's fun to like bring to the table. Not saying men don't or guys don't, but I think it's fun to see more girls come and just try it out because I don't know. It's usually a male dominated field, so seeing women join is inspiring.
Yeah, well, and one of the things with me, you know, me being the teacher with the wood shop, I'm the one that's kind of recruiting and getting these kids to, hey, do the house construction next year, come on through. And I always encourage the girls to do it. I love it when those girls come in there and show the boys what to do. And, you know, they don't, like last year, one of the gals that we had last year, we had Selah and one other last year, and she started off being terrified of the nail gun, like would not pick up a nail gun. And by the end of it, she was the first one to go run and get the nail gun and do the work. And it's awesome to see when the girls are there. And like I said, I actively recruit them to show those boys what to do.
Look right at the tables.
Yeah.
Selah, what are your?
I definitely think the guys that are in the construction class are a lot better than the guys in the welding class. So I'm doing what May did, and I like I am doing both classes, but the boys in the welding class are like really cocky and not nice, and especially if because there's two other girls in my welding class, and we've been doing it. It's our 4th year, so we know things. And if we show them up, then they get all butthurt and mad. But in the construction class, even when because I was one of the youngest people in the class my sophomore year, there was 2 senior girls, and they helped me a bunch. But all the boys, like they were all really nice about it, and like helped me learn what I needed to learn. But also when I knew how to do stuff, and I was in a way like telling them like a hint on how to do it better, they didn't take it as, oh, this girl thinks she knows everything. It's just they actually took it as a good constructive criticism kind of thing. So yeah.
May I add something?
Yeah.
Yep. Right ahead.
I would say when I was in the program, I felt like Bob Jellison, and Jeff Remaker, he was the previous construction teacher, they really fostered like really good communication and like friendships between people where there wasn't really any like division. Like I never felt like there was any division in the classroom. And I would say it was mostly just like on a personal level, Bob and Remaker were just promoted friendship in the class, and they made things lighthearted, and like they supported giving constructive criticism. And I would say like that made a huge difference like in the classroom for me. And I could see that like just be like Selah, I was in the welding as well. And there was just like a whole different atmosphere in the building trades program that I just like loved. That was why I loved going to school.
I completely agree with that. I was a little worried when Ramaker was leaving because we didn't know who was gonna come in and how I was gonna change that class. But Mr. Victor has been amazing and is now a good friend of mine, I'd say, along with Bob. But they do such a good job. I'd say, yeah, they definitely promote what you said.
Awesome. Sounds like you guys have some great instructors. I don't know if Jana wants to add anything. I know you're off camera, Jana, but you could jump on camera, or we can probably hear you from where you're at, but just kind of speak to being a female in this male area.
I noticed that I was the only girl, and the first thought that came to my mind was to drop out of the class. But I just kept going, and with the help of Mr. Bob, just made me like stay in that class and keep it going.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're blessed to have the girls in there.
So
Yeah,
Amy,
good for you for persevering.
I want to make sure that I get to Dylan because we haven't met Dylan officially yet. Although he's now running the program with these two. So Dylan, tell us a little about yourself.
Yeah, I'm a senior this year, and this is the first year I've taken this class, but I've been in Victor's wood class last year, so I already know Victor. And I think it's just a great class in general. I've done interviews on it before with who were they? Same people, yeah.
Same people.
I think
Glacier Conservancy.
yeah.
We don't listen well, so we have to ask the same question.
Yeah. I think the class is really great. The instructors are awesome, and they really, as said before, they really make it like you want to show up and you want to work, even if you make mistakes. They make it a valuable instruction to like one time I remember I was using the chop saw. Victor caught me using my hands instead of the push stick, which is a no-no. They're supposed to have 4 inches apart from the blade in your fingers, and one side wasn't. So Victor had me use the push stick, and then the machine kicked back and the wood hit me. And I was fine. But Victor made it a learning moment instead of like, oh, don't do this. You're in trouble. You're not allowed to use this machine anymore. He made it a learning moment, and I definitely learned very well from that.
So talk to us a little bit about the kind of a similar scenario. How do you think this class is going to impact you personally, professionally going forward?
Personally, I think it's a great class. I think all the trade classes are really nice. I was in welding, I was in the AutoCAD, I was in wood shop, I was in all of them basically. And professionally, I like to do woodworking. I like to go into Glacier National Park and hike out. I might even do one of the internships too. I think Bob and Victor have had a positive impact on both my outlook of the Glacier National Park, like just agency and all of that. I'm already going to be going into trades, but I think this has further spurred on my inspiration for going into it.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing you bring up, which we haven't touched on yet, which is kind of the involvement of the park, right? And even for a lot of people who are in this valley, you don't necessarily know anybody who works at the park, or you don't go to the park. How has this impacted how you've thought about what Glacier Park is in this community?
Well, with this, I feel like before it was like they were just there. It's like the park. It's like, yeah, it's kind of like the government, right? But now it's more like the park actually cares about us more than I used to think. And it's really a eye-opening class with the park.
Sayla, agree?
Yeah, I mean, I've always like just like gone on hikes in the park, but didn't really think about like the people who ran it and the people who put the buildings there and all that. But as soon as I like learned that this was actually with the park, I was like, oh, like this is really cool how like Dylan said, like a government kind of like job or situation is allowing high school students to like build buildings to put in the national park where you can't even pick a flower and take it home.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
there's a trust. There's a thing of trust and being trusted as a young person. I think it's important for sure.
Yeah, and I really encourage the students, and I worked for the park 20-ish years ago, and it's cool to go back now with my kids and do those hikes and do those things that I used to do. And so on all of these cabins, we have a plaque in there in the inside that has the students' names, it has the year it was built.
Awesome.
And so in 20 years, even if they're not thinking about it now, once they have kids, once they're out there and they go to the park, they can hike up to this cabin that they built that'll have, and the plaque's on the inside, so they won't see it on the outside, but they'll know that this is the cabin that I built. And every person that stays in those cabins, most of these cabins are going to be used for summer housing. And so it's people from all over the country, all over the world that come to work for Glacier Park that are going to stay in the cabins that we built. And there's a plaque above the door that'll say built by Columbia Falls High School students, whatever year it was. And it's a cool thing. Some of them may not realize it now as high school students. But as you get older and as you remember those things and you have families and you have kids and you're telling stories, this is an amazing story for them to tell.
Yeah, agreed. And I'm going to bring Bob in here, and we're going to do a little rotation again with you two guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
To that point,
Doug, I would also.
Oh yeah, go for it.
I was just gonna say, I think we have Patrick on. Maybe he's in between songs at the band concert, but Patrick, I was just wondering if you would kind of answer the same question that the other students had. What's your plan for the future, and how's this class maybe going to impact your future, either personally or professionally?
Yeah, absolutely. Personally, I think it's this class, and sorry, I'll try and move to a quieter area. Has just really impacted my future by I think it's totally changed like my plans for college, like looking into specifically Montana State University Northern's electrical program. I mean, just things like that have really opened my eyes. That's currently what I'm planning on going to do. I mean, just throughout just being in the class, I was really scared to get in this class and just do it. I mean, it really did seem frightening my junior year, but just getting into it has really made me feel more confident in my own abilities. And I mean, like this summer I had a job working for an electrician local, and that really just it boosted my confidence, whether like if I want to pursue it as a long-term career or just something to get really skilled at. But yeah.
That's awesome. Very nice. And then Doug, I know that let's see, Chris Peterson is on and he wanted to know a little bit more about funding for the program. How is it currently funded and what is the future funding outlook? So maybe one of the three of you could address that.
Yeah, so this year we have two funding sources. National Park Foundation stepped up this year and they're funding the employee cabin build. And they've provided money towards the materials and towards my wages and towards site development. And then any leftover funds will be carried forward into the follow-on year for the next cabin build. Also this year, the Conservancy has provided the funding for the Granite Park Chalet cabin. So that'd be the timber frame and the heavy timbers that the students were working on.
And it's a great partnership because Columbia Falls High School is making a significant investment in this as well, as is the National Park Service in this. So it's a great three-way partnership here for sure.
Great. And that's all I have. So I'll let you wrap it up because darn it, we're already almost out of time.
I know, isn't that amazing? Well, I was going to say, Manolo, when they were talking about the legacy of having something in the building, it really is a two-way street. I was in Pittsburgh at a Carnegie Mellon University park project, Glacier Park project report, and I got to have dinner with some folks who met in this park, working in this park in 1959. And so important was that experience to them, right? That they're donors to the Glacier National Park Conservancy, and they want to take the executive director out to dinner 60 years later, right?
That's
and
amazing.
that's the number one predictor of donors to the Glacier Conservancy is having worked in this park and been moved by it. And what you guys and these incredible students are doing is making that possible here. So thank you for doing that and for doing all this work. And again, it's impossible to think that we're already out of time. We could do this for another hour or two. But Bob, Manolo, all the students, thank you very much for a wonderful evening together. And thanks everybody for joining us from around the country. And we'll look forward to seeing you soon on another Glacier Conversation. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.